Hiya folks, how's it going? I'm Lexi and I really like tabletop games. So much so that once a week, every week, I review one here at the gaming table. If that sounds interesting, I encourage you to hit subscribe and keep watching. Today we are looking at another game from Possum Creek Games. I've always been really impressed with their games in the past, so I have high expectations for this one. This is the Emmy award-winning game, Wickedness. This game takes place in a magical kingdom. What it is like, who rules it, and the people that inhabit it are all created during the gameplay. The 3 players in this game play 3 members of a witch's coven. To describe the world around them, the players get to build this by choosing descriptors for these places. Something that pretty much any game of Wickedness will have is a kingdom with a ruler, an underworld of some sort, and the coven and where they live. From these people and places will arise the different conflicts that you will find throughout the game. If you would like something a bit less traditional, this game actually does come with 2 alternative settings. A cyberpunk setting and an urban fantasy setting. These replacement settings change out the words from the base game to more fit the aesthetics of the genres. Generally speaking, the Coven is known to the world around them, and they are generally tolerated by the powers that be. Because magic is so rare and powerful, they might be called upon, especially with that pesky underworld nearby. These relationships, though, could change throughout the game. Wickedness uses a deck of tarot cards to take the place of the game master in running the game. One of the first things you do in this game is assigning roles. The 3 witch archetypes are the pure heart, the wild spirit, and the old soul. These roles are assigned by separating out of the deck and then dealing blindly the cards of the fool, the magician, and the high priestess. A great deal of the setup for a game of Wickedness is taking cards out of the tarot deck to either be distributed among the players at a specific time or putting them to the side. Throughout different stages, characters will look at the different tarot cards that were dealt to them and probably record these on their playsheet. What these tarot cards mean will depend on the rulebook or sometimes the interpretation guide that is given out in the game. I will say the card meanings that are given to you in the game are pretty broad and can be interpreted a number of ways, but they do allow that if a card drawn just doesn't make sense, that you can interpret a new meaning, perhaps from the art of the card itself. Once the characters are set up, the players and the player characters get to do that world setup I talked about previously. Something I really like about this game is when characters are given roles, those certain roles are given an amount of power over the story that none of the other roles can take or have. The second stage of this game is known as the Challenges stage. In this stage, cards from the minor arcana of the cups, coins, wands, and swords are taken out of the deck and shuffled. Then, different players reveal cards from this deck. When a card is revealed, the character with that arcana gets to reveal what the meaning is from the interpretation guide. From this, a challenge arises and everyone gets to try help solve it. There are 3 ways that members of the Coven can respond to some sort of challenge. There is to fall prey to folly, solve with wisdom, or solve with true magic. Players are encouraged to have a go at a couple of these different options throughout the challenge stages. You probably want your coven to pass all of the challenges it encounters, as the game can end at the challenges stage if the coven fails too much. At the end of this stage, another card that was dealt to the players at the end of the stage, a card that was dealt to the players at the beginning gets flipped. This is to decide the witch's fate. Players can accept, reject, or put a twist on the fate that they're dealt, and this leads into some interesting discussion questions for the story. The last stage is trials. It's really similar to the challenges aspect, except things are a little bit different and a little bit more high stakes. You gather up the cards that you used in your challenges and you face them from lowest numerical order to highest. Then you take a look at the challenges that come up up and come up with a similar idea for the trial. However, in this stage, you get to not fall prey to folly and talk about how your experience with the previous similar situation has gained your character wisdom. If your coven makes it to the end of this stage, the players then get to describe the fate of their kingdom. You need to determine the fate of the coven, the kingdom, and the underworld. Who gets to narrate what is decided by taking 3 cards out of the tarot deck and dealing them blindly. These cards are Judgment, Death, and the Tower. While the game is not mechanically complex, the Game Master's role is really taken over by the rulebook and the tarot deck, and you would absolutely need to keep both open and really close by for referencing and looking to. Wickedness isn't a complex game in lore or mechanics, but it's a guided experience. You do absolutely need to keep the rules and the interpretation guide on handy to reference what stage you are up to or what cards to look at next. Something I'm really glad is that even though this game was published into 3 small booklets, you can purchase them as a bundle. They also each have their own great cover art, and there's some beautiful art on the interiors of each book. If you want to roleplay being a witch with your friends, then I think this would be a great little one to choose. The magic in this world is simple and generally connected to the characters. Perhaps if you're looking for a complex magic system and a multi-month campaign, you are in the wrong place right now, but I think the game knows what it wants to do and it does it well. This game is just under $70 USD. I would say to purchase this one if you like a good storytelling game and the theme is up your alley. So those were my thoughts on Wickedness. What did you think? Do you have any favorite, any award-winning games from years past that you'd like to see on the channel? Feel free to tell me about them in the comments down below. While you're commenting, I encourage you to like, subscribe, turn on notifications, maybe even share with a friend. It all helps this channel keep going. I have a Ko-fi page where you can donate to help me fund this channel and all the games, or you can just see what I'm up to. I hope you're all well, and I look forward to seeing you next time at the gaming table. Bye!